Hello, happy bros. Hey, you're about to get a face full of the Ken Bozak. He's a mentor. That's what I heard. He's a connector. Oh, yeah. He's a brilliant leader. I've seen it. He's Ken Bozak. Oh, happy bro. You gotta get some Bitcoin and hold it. Happy bros. You gotta get those NFTs and you gotta hodl that stuff. You gotta hodl it. 'Cause I'm Ken bro. We got your Bitcoin, bro. He's an original. Buy some NFTs and hold them. How many times does he have to tell you? Going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. 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 Yeah, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Bro, we're going to the moon. Oh yeah, we're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. Real high. Yep. Real high. Hello, happy bros. Come get some Ken Bozak.
There we go. All right, and we're live. All right, so Double O Tats is having technical difficulties, but GM, everybody, thanks for joining. This is not another Bitcoin podcast. I'm Ken Bozak. How goes it? We have a remote guest transmitting in today. Why don't you introduce yourself? Let everybody know who you are, maybe how you got into crypto, and what you're doing now with Crypto Fam Radio in the space.
Yeah, thank you so much, first off, for having me, Ken. I'm really excited to be on this Not Another Podcast, Bitcoin podcast. I think it's great that I'm able to be on other people's podcasts. So a little bit about myself. I started in journalism and PR, working at various newspapers and magazines, transitioned into a publishing house. I worked a lot in that Web 2 kind of era, and then I transitioned slowly into cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, I would say early 2020, 2021, when I started really getting into space hosting on X. And I started getting just like interested more into the aspect of space hosting. And that's basically how Crypto Fam Radio became Crypto Fam Radio. Originally, it was Crow Fam Radio. I started on the Kronos chain, got really interested in the Kronos ecosystem. And then about 6 months after, I decided to rebrand because I wanted to be more inclusive, not exclusive, and embrace all the different blockchains and basically learn about these different blockchains, how they worked, right? The utility, and also just the people behind a lot of these projects, right? So just hosting a lot of AMAs, diversifying my portfolio as much as possible, right? I did get into meme coins a little bit, but then I was like, I keep losing my money, bro. Like I just couldn't keep losing. I'm like, I'm supposed to be making more money, right? So I just focused more on real project with real utility, right? And then over time, I just started, getting paid basically to do what I love, which is to speak on spaces about these projects, to host, to co-host. And then recently I just launched my own podcast called 111 back in February of this year at eDenver, and that's been going really well as well. And then I actually released my first ever product called Crypto Rush, which is an electrolyte premix and creatine powder form. Basically, you put in your drink, in your water, you mix it up and you drink it. So my first ever RWA. Basically a live podcast host and content creator. I do a lot of videos as well on TikTok and YouTube. So thank you.
Man, thank you for being here. I got to try some of that
Yeah,
RWA, bro. And
let's
why?
go. It'll be
I'm
in
so
Vegas.
curious. Oh, for sure. For
I'm gonna bring the
Bitcoin
bottles.
26.
Yeah, yeah.
Why 111 though? I'm so curious.
Yeah, yeah. So 111, if you know anything about, numerology, 111, these are angel numbers. It's a signifier of new beginnings, spiritual awakenings. And I really wanted to do a podcast that wasn't about crypto, right? Because my whole life is basically consumed in crypto with all my with live spaces essentially and what I'm doing on TikTok. I wanted to do something a little bit different. And before I even got into crypto, I had a few different podcasts that I had launched previously, So I did this one podcast called As Time Goes By. At the time, I was working at a retirement home. And so I was interviewing these older people, like veterans, basically, baby boomers, that sort of thing, about their life stories. I'd break it up into different episodes, right? One for each retiree. And that was really fun, and I've always been fascinated with, I want to do my own podcast, but I want to do it differently. Like I want to keep it interesting. So 111 is basically a signifier of this spiritual awakening of people that have had these resets in their life. We all go through different resets, different chapters. And so to talk about just not projects, but the people behind the projects, and these don't even have to be people from crypto. I find people from all different walks of life. And if I have that same synergy with them, that same connection, I'm like, you should be on 111. Like, it's not
I
for
love that.
everyone. Yeah, it should just be for people who actually want to share their awakenings with me. So I created this podcast, like I said, back in February of this year, and I'm already on episode 8, or sorry, not 8, 6. I just published episode 6 with Aussie Nasi from the XRP community. So I'm on episode 7 with Double O Tats. Actually, he's going to be the next one. And I'm really excited. I'm trying to be consistent. We have so
Yeah.
much going on, but at least once a week, I think, to just kind of help my YouTube channel more than anything. That was another reason I wanted to launch the podcast on YouTube first. And then it goes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But yeah, so that's
Gotcha.
basically behind 111 in so many
Damn, you
words.
want to hear something that's white girl crazy? You want to hear something
Sure. Go,
crazy?
go for
My
it. Go
my
for it.
birthday's 11/1.
No way. November.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I was like, so
That's
why
dope.
111? Because my
That's
birthday's
dope.
11/1. My birthday's 1/1/88, right? So, but yeah,
Wow. That's
November 1st
beautiful.
is my
You're lucky,
birthday.
bro. That's
Thank
that's
you.
angel numbers right there, bro.
Yeah,
You got a
I
lot
didn't
of
know anything about angel numbers till I was
hmm
probably 31 years old. I'm 37 now. So for 6 years, I've
yeah.
been aware of what angel numbers even were. But ever
hmm
since I was, I would say, 13, maybe four. No, it'd have to be before that. So 12 or 13, my favorite number was always 222 because I transferred
Mm.
schools about 5 times growing up. And every time I managed to have a classroom 222, whether it was homeroom or it was math class or science, like whatever school I went to, if I moved, I would go to class 222 eventually throughout the year. And I'm like, it was just always there. And then I got older, and some, girl was like, "Do you even know what that means?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it means it's my lucky number. It's like my whatever. It means something to me." And then she was like, "No, it's angel numbers." She was like,
See?
"Dude, your birthday's 1/1/1, and your
hmm
favorite number is 222." She was like trying to explain all this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh wow, I didn't even know that was a thing other people recognize." But I always recognized 111, 222.
Yeah, exactly. And we actually launched the trailer on January 11th of this year of 111. So, and I wanted to try to keep that consistent of the first episode dropping a week, or I think it was a week later. It was basically like this, like a live taping, but with a good friend of mine who I met on Spaces called Snowy Talks. And she's based in the Netherlands. And it was great to have her as the first participant of the show, first guest. But yeah, it definitely has a lot. Like, I really didn't start getting into astrology or numerology since, I would say, late last year. I never really took an interest in it at all. It wasn't until I met certain types of people in Spaces and they just were like, hey, you should name it this. I'm like, I don't know. But then I kept thinking about it. And then I actually run a space called Astro Crypto Beyond Stars every Friday at 2 o'clock p.m. EST, where it's me and this buddy of mine co-host called Steve Strange. he's been a huge impact in my just astrology of aligning the stars with the crypto markets. And he talks about all, and he's a very, very intelligent guy. And I'm learning so much from him. I'm like, you know what? That does kind of make sense. I do kind of believe in this astrology, and I thought it was all like hullabaloo at first, but the more he talks about him, the more it just, I don't know, it just makes sense. And people used to do this shit even before technology was here, right? They always
Oh
used to
yeah.
look at the markets like that. So
Oh, for sure. Exactly.
yeah.
No, I'm not as in tuned with the universe, but I swear I could
Hmm.
tell. I could tell when there's been a pretty bad solar flare. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, it's like one of those full moon kind of energies. You can feel it. I just like, I wonder. It just today just feels like a solar flare day, and I just look online and I'm like, yeah, there was a pretty huge solar flare today. So, yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
is like something that I, at least that one part of like the universe's energy, I've been able to feel for since I was like, 20. I remember being like, yeah, I feel
Mm.
like there was a solar flare today, and like joking around, and one of my friends looked it up, and he was like, "Oh shit, nah, dude, you're right, there was." And I was like, "Okay." And then a
See?
few more times it has
Yeah.
happened throughout my life, and oh, Double O's messaging me over here.
Did you finally get
You're
some
unable
good
to
Wi-Fi?
join this because you were previously removed.
You
What
removed
happened?
him?
No.
Oh
Is there a
no.
way to let me see if I can
All
copy
right.
the invite and do it again. I don't know,
No
bro.
worries.
I was trying to mute him. I guess I did it.
Oh.
I might have removed him by accident trying to hit mute.
Oh no.
But
Maybe
you
he'll
said you
join
got
later.
into the crypto space in 2021.
Yes. Yes. Right
Yeah, it's
when
been
COVID getting
5 years now then, man. I wonder,
almost
if
5. Yeah.
somebody was just getting in now, what is something that you wish you knew then that
Ooh.
you've learned now? There had to be at least one or two things that you were like, well, if I had a time machine, these are some of the things I would have write down on my hand when I woke up. I'd see it and I'd know this in 2021.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And the first thing that pops in my head is don't believe everything that you see on the internet, and especially in your DMs of like you winning stuff or any kind of like scam thing that's too good to be true. It probably is. People get into crypto because they think they can get, the cash, quick cash real quick, right? And get that 100 times X or whatever on some meme coin. That's all a fantasy. That's all live. That's what the KOLs want you to believe, so you can be their exit liquidity, right? So I would highly, highly suggest that you do not try anything that you receive from anyone, even the first year, 2 years. You be very, very cognizant about who you trust with your money, right? Because a lot of people, they lose so much money because they get into some tokens. They thought, that was going to be great, and then it drops to zero. Right. So I would tell anyone getting into crypto now, especially because I had to go through these scams. I've had my wallet drained a few times, right? Like I'm not proud to say that, but it's just like that's the fact of the matter. We're in crypto. We see, people all the time just scamming other people, and it's not cool, and I think that's a big reason of why people stay away from crypto, not just because it's volatile, but because they hear about all these scams. And I know one of the first things I always hear when I try to talk to just normal day people about crypto, it's like, oh, it's a scam, right? Like I don't stay away from that. I want to keep my money to myself. I don't know. Do you feel the same way, Ken? Or
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
definitely. I always tell people stay skeptical. It's kind of like
Yeah,
one of my catchphrases. I should put that shit on a t-shirt. But
you
yeah,
should.
everybody should in this space stay skeptical of everyone and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Always feel like you're like, not the smartest person in the room. At least that way you have that advantage. If you think you are
Mm,
the smartest person in the room and you're not, you have lost all advantages, right? So yeah,
exactly.
just
DYOR basically is what I would tell them.
even that doesn't work though. I'm telling you, even I
That's
wouldn't even
true.
say that because like at some
Mm,
point, I'm not smart enough to read a fucking smart contract and know if there's any scammy shit in there. I have to trust
mm,
somebody who is smart enough, who has a legacy of credibility, right? Like even the people
yes.
that will verify that person can't audit that person. It's just the time of credibility of their word that really is like, oh, they audited this smart contract. This is probably legit, right? But I don't fucking know. I'm trusting that person. And
That's
that's the
true.
one. That's the one thing I
Yeah.
can't wait for AI agents to be able to do for me is for me to copy and paste some, blockchain code and some bips into the agent and be like, hey, is this, BIP number 5,000 going to be good for Bitcoin? What does it really mean? Break it down. And that way the agent will
Hmm.
break it down unbiased, you know what I mean, in that sense.
Right. I heard Grok can do a little bit of that now. Like it can assess accounts and then you can like ask it whether or not it's a scam or not. It's like, hey, how is this token? Is it? Yeah, I've heard this from other people in spaces. I don't know how accurate it is. I don't think it's fully bulletproof, but
But
you
I
can
wonder
try.
how financially liable that is.
That's true. That's another great point though. So yeah,
If
I
it
don't,
tells me it's not a scam and it rugs me,
and
I'm
then it
holding
rugs, then
Grok
you're like,
responsible just like I would any other influencer. You know what I mean?
right. No, you're right. You're right. So it's hard to know who to trust. Usually, like especially with projects nowadays, the devs have to be doxxed. They have
Yeah.
to be doing spaces that are
All you can really
consistent.
trust is your gut in the
It's
sense that you are
mm,
gonna have fun regardless, right? Like,
right,
number go up, number go down. If that's all you're there for, then I mean that's all you're gonna be in anything for. But if
right.
like, I remember the OG Dogecoin community, it didn't nobody talked about the price till Elon Musk started accepting it for Teslas. Nobody
That's
cared.
true.
They were
That's
just
true.
Doge is funny. Want some doggy coins? Let me give you some doggy coins for that coffee that I owe you for or whatever, right? Like
Right.
it was just fun. Everyone was having fun and then Elon brought in a whole different community, a whole different type of person, a different type of end
Mm,
user, and they did care about the price and it kind of diluted the value of the fun everyone was having trying to convince a dealership to accept doggy coin for a car. Now the dealership wants it, but I remember it was way more fun trying to convince a used car dealer into taking my doggy coin and giving me that used Hyundai. Come on, you want to swap. You want to
yeah.
swap.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. I love that.
So you've been doing this spaces
Yeah.
for 5 years, man. What's some advice you could
Yeah,
give
man.
somebody that would like to get into doing spaces? I'm so much not big into it myself.
Hmm.
Sometimes it feels like yelling matches and stuff. Like I've been in yours, and it definitely
Yeah.
seems way more organized. Like people aren't. It's
Thank
not
you.
as much chaos, but spaces. A
Appreciate that.
lot of them feel like chaos to me. So I don't.
Huh.
It's hard for me like to
Yeah,
kind
to
of
get into them.
yeah, definitely when I want to say something and just never like get the chance to say something. So I'm like, well, fuck this, I'm leaving. Like, you know what I mean? So, uh, but I
Um,
mean, yeah. So
mm.
how is spaces for you? Like, how do you utilize spaces on X?
Yeah. So, yeah, to answer your question, another great question. If someone wants to get into space hosting and they want to, I don't want to say the right way. I can tell you the way I do it. Everyone does hosting differently. When I first got into space hosting, I didn't know what I was doing. Right. And I think what you really have to keep in mind when you're starting to space host is find a co host that has like-minded energy with you that you can riff off of, because nobody likes to talk to themselves in spaces. Like monologuing, that gets boring after a while. And I think having different types of people that you can riff off of creates this type of synergy, right? And more people that are especially listening down the listener's lodge can really resonate with what you guys are talking about, right? And then they want to sit and listen. Then you'll have other people who actually do want to add to the conversation, do want to speak, and they'll request that mic. From what I've learned with space etiquette is raising hands goes a long way. That actually helps you boost in the algorithm. When Grok sees the little hands and emojis and stuff, it'll boost you so more people can see your spaces. There's a little, there's some space tricks to try to get you out there more. But I would say, like, when you're starting space hosts and you don't know what to say, you always want to try to have a format, right? So I always have a format when I start my spaces. Usually I spend the first 10 to 15 minutes with some intro music to bring the awareness of, oh, there's a space going on with Crypto Fam Radio. I should join this space. Even before that, I release a live weekly space schedule on my profile where it's pinned for the entire week.
Oh,
So you
that's
have a
hella smart.
list. Yeah, you have a list of all the spaces that I run. And then under that is a thread of all the space reminders. So you can just go through, you can hit remind, even though the reminder buttons don't work anymore, I think. But regardless, you can repost that. You can tag people in the reminders, you can bookmark, you do whatever you want with the actual space reminders. And then I actually release 1 to 2 posts to remind you that, hey, we do have a space going on tomorrow. For an example, after this, I'm going to create a post about the bass community space that we have for tomorrow. We do an AMA with Treble, which I'm very excited to discuss more about Treble and their platform, what they're doing on the bass chain, right? So just doing these awareness posts to let people know that your space is live for this duration of time, right? So that's where I try to get people in my spaces. I know a lot of when you first start space hosting, you get discouraged because people aren't coming to your space, right? But it's like, it takes time, right? Everything takes time, especially with marketing, right? And so you have to be consistent. You can't, be discouraged. Even, oh, I did spaces for a whole week and still no one came to my space as well. Let's focus on the topics. What are you discussing? What do people really want to listen to? What are you an expert in, right? So these are all questions you need to answer for yourself when you're space hosting as well. For me, since I'm very crypto centric, it's going to be about crypto. It's going to be about a certain blockchain, especially. And since I'm very good at interviews, right? So not to say this is making me uncomfortable. I actually love to be interviewed as well. But for the most time, it's the other way around, like my background's in journalism, PR, right? So I'm always asking great questions, right? And it takes time. A lot of people don't know this too. Try to ask better questions. This is what will make you a great space host. If you don't know how to ask the right questions, you're not going to get the answers that you want to get. And then your listeners won't, feel like they're getting anything out of it as well. So asking better questions is huge for any space host. That's another tip I would give first getting into space hosting. And yes, be consistent and then finding the right co-host that you can riff off of, and you will have an amazing space.
I love all of that. I feel like I don't want to say like that was like common sense advice, but it was like, but no, like there was an Easter egg in there though. There was like an Easter egg in there though. That thread that you have of the reminders. I love the concept of that because when I find spaces and then I try to find like the one before it or what they were doing like last week, I was like, where do I find that? Like it's so hard to find like the previous. It's not just like a one-click button on YouTube really to get to the spaces. You have to like find the tab and all this stuff, and then there's some other stuff in between. But to find the thread of all the reminders of it's an easier way to kind of go back and see all the stuff that you've done in the past in your spaces, which is a really cool tip that for somebody to have. So yeah, if you're gonna start a space today, why not start doing it and make sure you have a thread of all your spaces. I tried doing that with the live stream stuff back when they had Periscope. I don't know if you remember Twitter's Periscope, but I did something similar to that. But I think I got in trouble with like the algorithm because like it was like probably 100 threads deep. Like I probably commented on a comment on a comment on a comment, and I got like I think I triggered something, so I got in trouble. Like yeah.
Sounds
so
like
I don't know.
inception.
Yeah, I don't know if I broke the like system. If you can only go so far until it's like a echo chamber feedback loop holding like two landline phones up to each other, and I like broke their code. But yeah,
Maybe. I think you should always try to make it easy for your audience to find things, especially on your account. And if you're consistently doing this week after week, which I've been doing for over 50 weeks now, people just automatically know, yeah, I've been doing this for a while, So, and I forgot to relay within that pin post tweet with the live space schedule, it has listed all the co-hosts, and I tag all the co-hosts. I tag all the sponsors, right? I have sponsors for the spaces as well. And then I also, I tag the AMA speakers that I'm doing the AMAs for, right? So everyone is notified. So then I get all the impression count. I get the exposure. You see what I'm saying?
Nice.
X will see it. And then everyone that's tagged will repost it. That will, add that space reminder. So it's really smart, especially when you're trying to get yourself out of the algorithm and trying to be top of mind with people. So yeah.
Do you record your spaces, or do you do anything with them outside of Twitter or X or whatever? Do you like use YouTube to kind of re-upload your spaces, or do they just live on X? Because it got me thinking it would be kind of cool to see it on YouTube too, like either live on YouTube or even after your spaces, just go back and record the audio with the screen cap and just throw it up on YouTube.
That's really smart. They are all recorded, to answer that question. And then I actually started a podcast called Crypto Fam Radio, where I would just put the recordings on the Spotify podcast. And I did this
Perfect.
all.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I did it all last year, but I kind of stopped doing it. I got lazy, if I'm being real, Keith, because I was like, no one's listening to this anyway. This is a waste of time. But I do like the YouTube aspect. I feel like more people do listen on YouTube, or at least, or add the screenshot or something. I just have to add it to my workflow. But I'm so invested in this 111 podcast where I'm like, I don't know. It's just another thing. But the space recordings do live on X if anyone wants to go back. And I do create it within my own communities, right? There's a communities tab there. So I always it's in the communities tab. If you join the community of Crypto Fam Radio, all the recordings are there from every week. So you can go back. It's just how many people actually do that, listen to the replays. Not many. Everyone wants to hear it live. That's what I find anyway. And if it's not live, it's like, is it worth my time? But then you got to make
I guess
sure
that is where Spaces is definitely different when it comes to content consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can feel it. Exactly. That's how you're right. Because if I'm listening and I want to be able to say something, people don't give me the mic. I'm like, well, I'm just leaving. I want to yell at this stuff too. So yeah, you're right. You're right. But yeah, 50 weeks of Spaces, man. I guess could you tell us a couple of the projects that really have stood out to you the most throughout the past couple, weeks of you doing this, and like ones that you found, to kind of be like, better than others, or what? I don't want to say like solid investments, bro, like let's get rich, but like, yeah, which projects have you like seen do better, throughout these past 50 weeks of Spaces?
Well,
I've had a pretty harsh winter
right now. Yeah, with the markets, totally. I agree with you there. To back up a little bit, I want to start like when I started this and now where I'm at. The format has changed. So it's kind of unfair to be like, oh, this was my favorite space, because we don't do that type of space anymore. When I first started doing the weekly space schedule and doing different programming for every day, and I used to do spaces like 5 days out of the week, almost a whole week at a time, because this is how much I love doing spaces, bro. But when I lost my X account over Christmas of last year, I was devastated, right? I lost my sponsors. I lost my account. I lost a lot of things on my X account. It was a hacker. I don't know how they did it. I didn't have my 2FA enabled. And I basically lost Crypto Fam Radio for an entire month of all of January. So when I finally got the account back, 30 days later, I asked Grok, and somehow I was able to reset my account and log back in. Thank God there was nothing disruptive of what they changed other than the handle. I changed back the handle as like Crypto Fam Lover or something. It was really weird how everything happened, honestly, Ken. But at the end of the day, I was able to get the account back. And then, and even during this whole time, this like really, depressing time for me, I pivoted. I actually went to TikTok. And I tried to do the whole TikTok live thing from Spaces into like TikTok live instead, because I was like, oh, maybe I've heard great things about TikTok. They've got a crypto community. And I was able to take an account with 0 followers and bring it to about 2,100 followers in about a month. So I was like, yeah. So it's not that hard on TikTok. It's a lot harder on X. It took me months to get Crypto Fam Radio to at least 2,000 followers. It took me months. I would say like 4 or 5 months. So we're just continually grinding, right? But to say all that, the format's changed. I used to do it where it was like, it would be a specific, like, just take, for example, if it was a certain day of the week, on Wednesday, I would host a Web3 Women Wednesday space, where I would pick a woman or reach out to a woman in Web3 that was doing amazing work, and I'd interview her. Right. So that would be an example of one of our shows at Crypto Fam Radio. And then Thursdays, it would basically be our AMA days, where I'd pick just any project and do an AMA. Friday, I'd call it like Fearless Fridays, right? So it would be more about self-improvement, more about, hey, it's the end of the week. Let's hear a story about how you guys overcame the week. On Saturdays, which has actually always been Catterdays, right? I'm a big cat daddy. I've got a black magical cat named Stella. I used to work at a cat cafe volunteering. And so, and I've always had an affinity for cats and cat projects. So we have a Catterday shill and chill space, right? It's the only shill and chill space for the week. Any project can come shill for 5 to 7 minutes, and I ask them some follow-up questions. So basically, we have different days dedicated of the week on these different events, right? We had these on-chain chats with Mountain Dew, where I'd pick, 1 to 2 different projects, and I'd interview them essentially about what they're doing, but not really about the project, but about the people behind the projects, right? So I've always been kind of like, I guess, interviewing people, but doing it differently and trying to create like interesting programming that people would just invest in other than the regular, here's my trading here, my trading strategy, my
Gotcha.
TA or
Well, let me
whatever, like the
rephrase
regular
the
Bitcoin
question. What were
space.
some of the most
Hmm.
interesting projects that you've gotten to talk about throughout the 50 weeks of doing spaces?
Um, it's so hard sometimes, Ken, because I could tell you a few that I've just recently interviewed that I think are fascinating, because now we've changed the format. It's just community spaces, I call them, right? So I'm specifically focused on certain blockchains within that community, right? And those communities come to their blockchains and they support them. But I would say, just to give you a quick reference of some of my most favorite projects that have come to share about themselves, there's this one project I'm going to shout out called Dreamcat. It's a Solana project, and not just because the cat
I was gonna
meme
say they had
project.
you a cat.
Okay, maybe that, but I actually interviewed the guy for 111 as well, and I just really like his story. All right, and I keep telling you, it's not really about the projects; it's the people behind the projects that I'm more invested in, and the way he was able to articulate himself and communicate his vision to me, that was powerful. I'm like, bro, I don't care what you're selling, I'm buying. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just that invested in dreams and belief, right? Belief. He was all about believing and getting to that next level within yourself, right? Nothing to do with crypto, all about mindset, right? I'm like, dude, you could be a good mindset coach, bro. Like, you got me, you have brainwashed me to believe, right? So he's all about belief, getting yourself right from zero to hero kind of deal. That's his favorite song, by the way, from Hercules. So it's like we had a lot of energy, and I really love his vision, and I actually just joined his TG group the other day, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to support this guy, like I don't see him in my spaces as I used to, but it doesn't matter, because I kept thinking about the interview we did. So I'd recommend Dreamcat, on Solana. So I really liked interviewing him for 111, and then he came to my Catterday space, and we just like talked for like 30-40 minutes because there's no one else in the Catterday space. I did like a mini interview with him then, and then that's how I convinced him to be on 111. So I really enjoy that project. Another project I'd really would like more people to talk about is this one called Bear Witness, that I had a chance to interview the dev, and then I got to interview his brother-in-law, who was in prison for about 20 plus years. So I sat down with his brother-in-law and I interviewed his love for tattooing, right? Of basically, he's a tattoo artist. He doesn't have a tattoo himself, but he's a really great tattoo artist. And he did this all in prison. He was known for that guy, right? But it was great to interview him. And then also the founder of Bear Witness, he created this NFT collection on the XRP L, and all these bears are from his brother-in-law that was in prison. He basically designed every single bear himself, an incredible artist. So I really love that story. And the whole reason behind that project is so he can get his brother-in-law, the tattoo artist, out of his construction job because he's getting older. He can't keep doing what he's doing, and he wants to provide for his brother-in-law and help him open up his tattoo shop and do it full time as an artist. So
I don't think I mean, I have a lot of tattoos. I don't think I've
I
ever
see
gotten
that.
a tattoo from somebody who didn't have a tattoo.
I
I
know,
don't
isn't
know
that
if I
interesting?
could get a tattoo from somebody who doesn't have a tattoo.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then I
it's
don't know
interesting.
how that
Yeah,
salesman
I,
like
I got I
pitch
got one.
goes.
I got one right here. Let me see
If you're in
that.
jail or prison and you don't
Yeah,
have
prison. Yeah.
tattoos, but your job is giving
Hmm.
tattoos, how do you sell that? Like how do you pitch that you do tattoos? You know what I mean? Like
I
that.
think he wasn't pitching. I think the people that got the tattoos would tell their friends, right? It's
Oh,
like,
that's
oh,
a
this
good
guy
point.
gave me a free
Okay.
tattoo, or he gave it to me at this price or something. It's like, oh, go talk to
Yeah.
him. You know how it works. It's all based off
Well,
referrals.
I was in jail, and the tattoos I got in jail were from somebody who did tattoos on themselves when they were bored, and I saw their tattoos, and I was like, "Yo, who the heck did that?" And he was like, "I did." It was like on his thigh, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good." I mean, if you could do that good on yourself, then do mine. And that's where I got the love tattoo and the
Oh,
hate
okay.
tattoo on my wrist. I got them
Oh,
touched
cool.
up. I got this in
Okay.
jail, and
Yeah.
as soon as I got it done, I went out and I showed somebody. I was like, "Yo, check this out." He said, "What does
Yeah.
Loha VT mean?"
Yeah.
It says love and hate, but he said, "What does Loha VT
Oh,
mean?"
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Love and hate. Yeah, that's great. So good.
Shout out to Miggy. He's in the chat. He's throwing out cat emojis. Yeah, I
So
have a cat
maybe.
too. I have kittens. I should probably join
Aw,
the Catterday spaces because
you
I have so
should.
many cat rescue stories and stuff, dude. I even
Aw,
got bit
yeah.
by a cat that I rescued. Had to get rabies shots for like 6 months. It was so painful.
Ooh, yeah. I heard you don't want to get bit by a cat. Yeah, that can be lethal.
Yeah, no, it was. It was pretty. It was pretty bad. It was
Yeah, you
shitty.
gotta be
Yeah,
careful. You
I
gotta be
was that.
careful. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Catterday spaces we that I host as well. It's my only live stream space, so I'll restream it off YouTube and on X, and then I'll actually bring my cat Stella on the live stream,
Oh,
and
that's
we'll like
cool.
dance together. You know, I try to make it Catterday, right? Catterday fun, Catterday themed, but it's just for projects. It's my chill and chill space, right? Like, to be honest, I don't like chill and chill spaces. There's a lot of them out there, so I'm like, how do I make mine different? How do I make it a little unique, more fun? Because sometimes they're really boring, bro. I'm not gonna lie, because you
Double
know some of
Tat
these
said, "I'm
projects.
here too" in the chat.
Some of these projects you know aren't going to make it, but you still got to have the courtesy. If they want to talk, you know, they can talk. So but yeah, it's
Oh, you go to a lot
yeah.
of events too, right? I mean, we got to
Yeah.
meet at ETH Denver. What are your thoughts on
Yes.
conferences, and is it worth it going to conferences? I mean, especially ETH Denver. Even Beeple was making fun of it, right? A lot of people that weren't there were
I think
making
it,
fun of us for being there. As somebody
mm,
who's getting into all this stuff and making a business of it, is it worth going to conferences still? What are your thoughts?
yes, totally. And I think the only reason Beeple said what he said, he was fighting it because he wasn't there to see how amazing it was. Honestly, I have made so many great connections. It builds credibility with the people that you connect with from IRL events. You take it to spaces, you take it to your online communities. You know, I think it really strengthens those relationships. I think IRL events are here to stay, even though it seems like the events aren't like I didn't even think NFT NYC was going to happen this year, but it is, you know, beginning of September now that we learned recently. I'm going to actually apply to speak for that event. But to say all that, you know, I think events is where it's at when it comes to actually building and collaborating and connecting with other people that you want to actually build up and create a sense of community with. So I'm very bullish on events. You know this. I'll be going to Las Vegas for the Bitcoin conference and the XRP conference. I just applied for the Shark Tank event that they're having at the XRP conference. So hopefully
That's
I get to
awesome.
be in it. Yeah, yeah, because I'm going to pitch them this idea for this survival TV show that we're going to actually be hosting not at the conferences, but during the conference event itself, you know. So I think it's all about experiences for conferences, right? Like we should not want to be behind our screens the entire time. We should want to get outside and actually connect with people IRL. You know, like this is what we're made for: human connection, human interaction. This is huge. What we're doing here is obviously great too, but it's like it would be better if I was sitting actually in front of you having a great conversation, because I feel like it's just that's where the energy is at. That's where you're really going to get those moments that are just like you can't be, you know, spaces, you can't be Zoom calls, you know, not a straight face-to-face live interaction with someone. So that's
Yeah,
my take
and I
on it.
mean, what other chance do you have of running into people in the hallway like Afro Man? You know what I mean? Like Afro
Oh,
Man's going to be
right.
speaking at the Bitcoin
Yeah.
conference. I
Mm-hmm.
have a 99% chance of running into him in the hallway and taking a
Yes,
selfie and getting him to come on the podcast.
I know, me too. I
That
want to
chance
do that.
doesn't exist outside of the conference. You know what I mean?
I
So
know, see.
even if you
Yeah.
can't get a ticket to go into the conference, it's in Vegas. Go to Vegas for Vegas, and then you
Mm-hmm.
could lobby con, hang out in the lobby. If you hang out right where the security guards do their whole pat down thing, guess what? Everybody has to go through that entrance, and everybody leaves through that exit. So you'll get to
Yep.
see everybody that's going to the conference, whether or not you have a ticket to get in. So yeah, hallway conference is a real thing. Totally recommend doing that if you can't get a ticket.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, like, and to restate your point, you have a chance to actually meet incredible people you never would have met otherwise if you didn't attend the conference. So yeah, great
Yep.
point.
Yeah, I got to meet some really awesome people at these conferences that me Miggy Miggy has probably 30 selfies with Grant Cardone because
Nice.
he ran into him, and every single time he didn't
Yeah.
remember meeting Miggy. Miggy just kept taking selfies with him till he eventually was like, around the 30th selfie was like, didn't we already do this? And Miggy was like, finally you remember me.
Wow. You know, that just really, you think about some of these superstars that have been around for a while, like Grant Cardone, right? Do they even remember any photos from any of
Right, they're
their,
gonna
you
remember
know?
Miggy forever though. He's gonna
I
remember
hope
me.
so. After 30 times, I know repetition is key,
It was
right?
like in one day. It was like every half hour the guy was just walking
Oh my
around.
God,
Yeah,
that's funny.
Miggy said
That's
that's my G. Yeah, for real, dude.
oh my
That was
God.
one of the funnier people I got to meet at a conference that I would never have gotten to meet otherwise. And
See,
then we got to hang out with him at a rooftop party for like an
that's
hour, maybe
cool.
even longer, just like one on one, me, Miggy, and him and his brother just
Yeah,
talking for like
that's
just
cool.
talking like bros. Dude, it was such a vibe.
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
that's another thing. Meeting cool people like that. You know, I got to meet Crypto Empress, Ben Crypto, like Finance Freeman. A lot of these influencers that I've always seen in spaces or on YouTube, I got to actually meet in person. So that was really cool. You know, and you as well, Ken. You know, I got to meet you and Miggy as well. So that was fun in Double O.
yeah, if
Uh,
it wasn't for Eat
yeah.
Denver, we would have never have met. Like I said, I don't really do
See?
spaces. I don't know the
Yeah.
etiquette, and I have social anxiety. And like I say, I raise
Aw.
my hand, and people don't give me the mic, and I just feel
Aw.
unwanted, so I leave. You know, just like
Aw.
I don't do well in spaces. It's a personal issue. I'm insecure, maybe,
Mm.
or I don't like. Yeah, I
Ken.
don't know the ethics, the
Mm.
social etiquette.
Right. If you come to my spaces, Ken, I'll make sure I treat you right, fam. If you raise your hand, I'll call on you. All right.
Yeah, I
My
just
spaces
yeah.
are very, like I said, I got a
I feel
format
like
and
I'll be
everyone's
told to shut
respectful.
up.
Everyone's respectful in my space. If I'm the host, which I am for my spaces, you know, you're gonna get treated right, Ken. So I just, you know, want to
Yeah,
make
I
that
know
known.
Miggy. I wasn't trying to dox him on the podcast, but yeah, we did, Miggy. Yes, we did. Oh man, I guess we can start to wrap this up. It's almost time on the hour here. I guess like final thoughts. Anything that you wanted to talk about yourself that you're looking forward to doing this year. Anything that got you excited. What
Yeah,
topics
yeah.
are you
Yeah,
excited
I
about?
alluded. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Ken. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly comment. I said it about earlier. So we're launching this digital nomad experience initiative at certain crypto events this year, and we're starting in Vegas for season one. So we're essentially launching this TV show called The Teardrop Effect, where we're inviting up to 6 creators to partake in a 24-hour survival challenge. Right. So me and my business partner, we were just thinking in our heads, hey, how do we create an initiative that we can basically stage a side event and activate this initiative where it's all about experiences, right? Getting people involved, more excited about crypto, and also making it a survival challenge with 6 different creators. And so we basically launched this initiative just a few weeks ago. We already have 2 creators on board. We're looking for 4 more. And essentially how it works is, I know, right? Yeah, we're trying to get Miggy on this too, actually. You're totally invited, Ken, but you basically have to survive in Crypto Fam Radio's teardrop. I've got a little teardrop camper for 24 hours up in the mountains of Vegas because it's a little bit cooler up there. Like I said, you're a digital nomad, so it's not like pure just nomad, right? You're going to be given Starlink, you're going to be given a gas generator, like everything's going to be like digital, like digitized. But here's the thing, not only do you have to survive for 24 hours and you have to create content around your survival challenges, right? You have to complete a quest. And this quest is going to center around the crypt. It's going to center around like essentially crypto, right? Crypto-esque of the sponsor that is sponsoring you for the event. It'll be about the sponsored quest, whether it be like some type of cold wallet initiation or NFT grab, or got to go geofence or geofind this certain thing, you know. So we're gonna make it fun, right? And that's gonna be part of the challenges to complete at least one of the quests. And
Depending
so,
on where you're putting us in Vegas, out in those mountains, I might need a fucking gun to go on quests, but I'm down.
well, I will be doing some location scouting a few days before. And so based off my location scouting, since I've done this whole digital nomad thing last summer up in Colorado, I'm like, you know, this is a bit of a walk in the park for me. You know, it's not going to be too difficult. However, I haven't been to the mountains up in Vegas.
There's
I don't know
some
how
life out there, just
Colorado.
so you know. There's life out in those mountains,
There's life?
bro.
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. I'm excited. I think.
Yeah, the red rocks are. I've heard enough wildlife when just walking around the red rocks to where I'm like, yeah, dude, it'd be nice if I had a gun right now. And then I'm reminded one of my friends has one, and I feel so much safer because like, there's wildlife out there in Vegas.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, for sure. I've heard mountain lions are pretty common, but I don't think there's any bears or wolves or anything from what I found anyway.
No, but there's wild dogs for sure.
Or
Packs of
dogs.
them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
A lot of stray dogs. Yeah.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so that's part of the fun then. That's part of the fun, part of the 24-hour challenge. Hey, we got to make this interesting, right? So it's like, but yeah, that's
surviving in Vegas is going to be interesting. That for sure.
Yeah, so like I said, we're gonna release this TV show. It's gonna be a compilation of all these 6 different creators. Each creator gets 1 episode. You know, they're gonna get a month after to edit their clips or whatever, send them to me. I'll do the final version, and then it's gonna be on YouTube and different other streaming services that we're looking into right now to get the show on itself, and that'll basically be season 1 Vegas, right? And so the idea is to continue the initiative at other crypto events all throughout the year. So possibly up in Toronto for the Futurist Blockchain Conference, do a Toronto version,
I'll
right?
be there as well.
NFT NYC, we can do a New York version, season 3, you know, like maybe back at Eat Denver in February, we'll do, you know, Northern Exposure take, you know, you got to actually survive in the cold. I don't know, in February as Eat Denver is going.
No, I like the concept.
I don't know.
That's
something
really
interesting.
Clever.
Yeah. So, but it forces. Oh, it doesn't force you, but in a way, you're building community. You're building collaboration with other creators, and you're creating something entirely out of nothing, just working together, right? And you're probably asking another question: how are you paying for all of this? It's like, we're not, right? Each creator is basically getting a sponsor to sponsor them, because this is how the quests work, right? It's going to be a sponsored quest. So it's like, it's equal opportunity. You're getting the sponsors getting exposure, the creators getting exposure. And then on top of that, we're hosting the side event, right? So at the event is going to be at the creator's house. So the creator gets a full 10-day stay. That's basically included with the sponsorship, right? And so they get to stay at the creator's house while they wait for their turn. They get to pick the day they want to do their 24-hour challenge, you know, and I'll have it all set up. And in the meantime, you can attend the conferences, attend all these side events that you want to, before or after the challenge. And yeah, within that basically 12-day span that I'm going to be in Vegas, we're going to be shooting the whole thing, or I should say the different creators that are onboarded, which throw out to Jenna X. I think you might have met her. She's going to be our first participant for the digital nomad experience, because she freaking loved this idea, bro. She was over the moon about it. She was like, I can't wait. Let me be the first one to do it. I'm going to kill this. You know, she kept going on and on about it. So she's going to be our first participant, and she's very excited to be a part of the experience.
That's perfect. Yeah, I feel like we survived Singapore together. We went to Singapore to fight in some boxing thing together, and Singapore was a survival show all on its own without the challenges. It had its own. It had so many of its own challenges.
I bet. I've been to Singapore. It's a beautiful country, but yeah, there's a lot of challenges involved.
But yeah, for sure, man. I was like, yo, this is different. People are getting busted for chewing gum here. I'm in trouble.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Oh man,
But
I'm excited to see the challenges you come up with for these content creators in Vegas. This is during, I guess, the Vegas
mhm,
conference, so
yes,
I
the end
guess
of
we could
April.
expect to see that content, what, like a month or three after Vegas?
Yeah, well, the whole TV show won't be released for probably a month after because, like I said, we need to get the edits from each creator. I'm going to be advising and helping them cut down their content if they need help. If they think they know what they're doing, then go for it. But it's going to be basically like you. I basically did a day in the life of Mountain Dew, right? Dew, and so I did this on TikTok where I highlighted Eat Denver for 5 days straight every day. I documented my adventures in Eat Denver. So that's kind of the model off of what we're thinking for the Survivor Challenge, the 24-hour experience. So you're not like literally holding your phone the entire time recording for 24 hours. We don't want that, right? We want you to get the highlights. We want you to create what you want to create. We want to give you the freedom to do it, but we want it to make sure you get enough content where it's worth an episode, right? So there will be some guidelines, right, to kind of help you along if you get, let's say, confused or like what kind of content you want to create. We've got an agreement that you would sign, basically a list of guidelines to kind of follow to get certain, shots of like, oh my gosh, this is how I set up a tent, and so you would like demonstrate how you set up the tent for the first time or how you would cook something, just something like that, right? So it's a little more interesting than just like a talking walking head through the forest, right? So it's like we want to invite this challenge, but we want to make sure you're creating this content in a way that makes it authentic, right? Makes it
Gotcha.
real, makes it relatable, right? And then on top of that, we're going to be doing these NFT mint parties where we're going to be showing certain previews from your content where it will be NFT gated. So people have to purchase the NFT to access the previews or the trailers. And this is essentially how we're paying the creators at the end of it, right? Because we want creators to get paid. That's a big part of why we're doing this as well, because honestly, we don't get paid enough on these social media platforms. They really don't pay us enough. So we wanted to create a show that really focused on the creators and paying the content creators for their time, for their 24-hour Survivor Challenge, right? So the sponsorships is basically to pay the expenses for the creators' time, their Airbnb, the food, the gas that we're going to spend to ferry the creators back and forth from the mountain to Vegas, me and my biz partner, that money, that sponsorship money, which by the way is only $600. Like think about it, that's a steal for 10 days at an Airbnb plus a full day up in the mountains to survive and to create content. That's a steal, right? So it's like no one's really getting paid for that. You're basically covering your expenses. How I get paid, how you get paid is through these mint parties that my biz partner has basically set up, strategized. And he's done this before last year at NFT NYC, where it was essentially a bunch of different communities coming together to mint these NFTs to see the release to support their creators, right?
That's sick.
So it's going to be a cross promotion, cross pollination. So obviously, the more creators we have, and like we said, up to 6, the more of a chance that you will actually get paid more than you think you are, right? Because you're like, oh, maybe if I make minimum $600 back, from my sponsor, that'd be sweet. No, we're hoping to make $1,000 each, maybe $1,200 each, based off of your communities and your community mindset. Yeah, we want to support our creators. We want to see the previews first. So we'll purchase the NFT so we can get access. So we want to throw not one, but 2 different mint parties, one during the side event as the challenges are going on, the side event that activates the challenge. But then we want to do another mint party right before we release the full feature film, basically, right? The preview. So do you want access before we give it to the whole public? You can see it now here. And then that's the second way we can pay back the creators for their time. Like I said, we really want to pay creators a fair wage, like a living wage, actually, right? Not cents to the dollar that we're getting on these social media platforms. So that's a really big reason of why we're doing what we're doing with this TV show. And then I'll be hosting and producing it as well. And I'll be interviewing, that's part of the deliverables. I'll be interviewing these creators that come back from their 24-hour Survivor Challenge at the creator's house. And it'll be as easy as, oh, how did you do? How was everything going for, and just do a small interview about their experience. Because I think a lot of people, they love that format as well, and including that in the final cut would be really cool as well.
You know
So
what's
that's
funny?
what
I think the host from Survivor's on Cameo. You could probably get him for like $50 or something to like shout out Crypto Survivor or something.
Oh my God. Yeah, man. Teardrop effect. Let's go. Yeah. So that's the name of the show. Like I said before, like the ripple effect, XRP. Teardrop effect. That's what Jenna said.
You know,
when
it'd be
I
funny
announced the show.
if you do. You know, go to the XRP conference and you should get a bunch of those fake little tattoos of the teardrops and see how many people you could get to do ripple teardrop tattoos.
There you go. Let's go.
That'd be, at least the Ripple community could be somewhat degenerate for a little bit.
There you go. Yeah,
I guess we'll wrap it up here. Let people know where they can find you on socials, how they can join the CryptoFam Radio community.
Yeah, so at CryptoFam Radio, that's my same handle on X, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. See, this is very, very important for those who have different handles on different accounts or different social media platforms. Have the same damn handle. It helps find you so much easier. So yes, you can find me on all those platforms. I also have a weekly newsletter that comes out that if you go to cryptofam.net, which is my website, it has all my links. Not Linktree. I'm not supporting Linktree. I have my own domain, have my own network, and I actually have my own directory where all my sponsors live, right? That's part of my deliverables with my sponsorships, which we didn't even talk about, but it's fine. We can talk about it next time. It's all good. But yeah, go to cryptofam.net. It has all the links. And then it has, and I'm even on LinkedIn at CryptoFam Radio. You can find me. So it's very easy to find me if you do that. But yeah, all that to say, you know, consistency is key when you're creating accounts, when you're posting on these social media accounts, and just being that top of mind, being that awareness for people to find you is huge, right? So don't stop posting. Keep that energy alive, even when you're not feeling it, you know, even on the podcast, right? Like it's 111 podcast, but you can find CryptoFam Radio podcast. We're on Spotify as well. You can hear some of our older episodes. But other than that, that's all I got. Ken, thank you so much for having me. You've been an amazing host and interviewer. So thank you so much for your time.
Much love, bro. Looking forward to seeing you in Vegas. As always, not another Bitcoin podcast. Don't forget to like, share, drop some comments, and have a day.
Awesome. Peace.
Hello, happy bros. Hey, you're about to get a face full of the Ken Bozak. He's a mentor. That's what I heard. He's a connector. Oh, yeah. He's a brilliant leader. I've seen it. He's Ken Bozak. Oh, happy bro. You gotta get some Bitcoin and hold it. Happy bros. You gotta get those NFTs and you gotta hodl that stuff. You gotta hodl it. 'Cause I'm Ken bro. We got your Bitcoin, bro. He's an original. Buy some NFTs and hold them. How many times does he have to tell you? Going to the moon. We're 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 gonna get real high. 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 Yeah, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Bro, we're going to the moon. Oh yeah, we're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. Real high. Yep. Real high. Hello, happy bros. Come get your Ken Bozak.